confess something.
Oh, confession time. Okay.
I have an addiction.
Ooh, okay. I can't wait to hear what this is.
To Law and Order, we already know.
No.
Oh,
True.
another addiction?
True. And Sex in the City. But this is a new one starting about 2 years ago. And I'm going to call it my girlfriend, Lainey Ziv. It's your fault. You and your husband's fault. Because we went over to dinner one night and she's like, let's watch Family Feud. I'm like, what?
Family Feud?
I was like, okay, I don't know what it is. First of all, it is on multiple channels. You can find it anytime, day or night. And it's got sort of sections to it where it's like, you know, the intro, then there's the first questions, and it accelerates to, and sometimes they're like down to like the only one question on the board. Are they going to get it? And then the fast money. So it's like you can go like, oh my gosh, it's 11:25. Perfect. I'm going to get the last 5 minutes. It's going to be the fast money. So the last like 14 years has been all Steve Harvey as the host.
14 years?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Wow.
It's been on since like 1976 or 77. It's been around like because we grew up with it and we did like it. It was originally created by Mark Goodson. And like I said, it's literally been around like 25 years, something crazy. Did I do the math wrong, John? What?
Yeah, unfortunately, we've had almost 25 years in this century. Yeah. So
it's more like 50 years, people. Okay.
Long time.
So Steve Harvey is the current host. He's been on for like 14 years. And it's like my man, Steve Harvey. And the suits that he comes out in, oh my God, what a peacock. I mean, it is just fantastic, his outfits.
I worked on a Facebook show for Steve Harvey for a little bit, and I found out that his son is actually his stylist. His son picks out those suits.
Wow.
Well, holy moly, you're doing a good job. They're usually pretty dazzling.
He's not afraid of color.
No.
I mean, he likes a bright colored suit.
So it's escapism in the sense that it's like these families. Obviously, they got to get along decently to come, right?
what?
Yeah.
I thought they were feuding.
With the other family.
Oh.
So it's 5 members on each one, okay?
And they have to be willing to coordinate their outfits. So that's something
my
right
God.
there
Some
about
of the-
those families.
Hold on, this isn't the Swans versus Capote's family?
No. Sometimes they are.
That's a different feud.
And it's typically, there's not really a lot of teenagers. It seems to be like 18 year older for the most part.
Yeah, I don't think it is a young...
No, not typically.
Yeah, they don't usually have younger
I definitely at least watch one a day.
One a day?
Sometimes 2. Gets me in a good mood. Because it's like the adults are just in a good mood. They're so happy to be there. Some of them are so incredibly like starstruck by Steve. It's fantastic. They're all working together. They're all coordinated their outfits.
Love it.
There's usually 1 or 2 family members that are real dumbos. I mean, you're like, duh, there's
You're like,
no
that's a
way.
dud answer.
Now, I always say, they go like, this question is based on 100 married men. And I'm always, now Ethan says it too. I go, in the Mall of America. Because wherever they get these questions from, you have to think, how would middle America answer these?
Yeah, wherever the polling is happening.
Right. And there are times, literally, some of the questions are so insane and the answers, I mean, and they will not edit out if they're kind of racy or sexy answers.
Those are the fun moments.
And it's always like some preacher says it and he's like, oh gosh, you know. And you can go on YouTube and there's great like clip packages of just some of the absurd things people say. And then you also have like Steve's reaction to it. And I love watching because they at some point figured out COVID and they just spaced everybody out and didn't allow anybody to do fist bump or hugging. You know, so they're like a mile away from each other.
Shooting this show.
Yeah. And super fun. And I mean, it's just one of those things where I'm telling you, rediscover it. It's on like 5 different networks. It's only a half an hour. And I have always a couple in the queue. The thing that does drive me crazy.
Wait, you record it?
Yes.
That I did not track.
Yes.
Can I make a confession? In our house, Family Feud is on quite a bit. Eric really likes it, my husband, and he will get very into it because, of course, it's one of the great play-along games.
Right.
Because there's the question, and whatever the answers are, you're immediately like yelling out like, oh, it's this answer or that answer. And then, of course, somebody will say, well, Steve, I think it's going to be this. And you immediately start judging their answer. You're like, no, Deborah, it is not going to be that.
You're
That
like,
is a
I'm always
dumb
like,
answer.
strike. Like, I know it, you know.
Yeah.
And Mark
But
has
we don't record it. That was that we don't. I
so
mean,
Mark
that's-
has a theory when there's 8 answers on the board, and that's the most there can be. He's like, they should pass because no one ever gets all 8 answers, and then it goes to you, and you have a better chance guessing the like 1 or 2 remaining.
strategy-wise, they almost never pass.
But when someone goes, oh, I'm going to pass, Steve does a double take like he's been slapped. Like, what? You're going to pass? And like, we're going to pass,
smart.
Steve. So because you can guess and capture all the points. But
You only need to get one once they've gotten their 3 strikes.
Right.
So if you pass it over to the other side and they get 3 strikes, then you just have to get 1.
But here's one of my favorite things. So usually on network television late at night, there's like 2 or 3 back-to-back. And I love it when the same family keeps coming back. And you can only play up to 5 games. And on the 5th game, if you just you're not playing fast money yet, you just won the game. You knocked the other family out.
What are you calling fast money? Is that the
Wait,
thing
hold
at the
on,
end?
I'll get to
all
it.
right, sorry.
God, there's a structure to this, okay?
No, there isn't.
So
Yes, there is.
you've beaten the other family. You got 300 points. On the 5th day, you win a car.
Oh.
And they all freak out and they run to the car. Then they come back and the fast money is like, you've got 20 seconds. You've got 25 seconds on the clock. And it's like...
Oh, it's the categories. It's that last standoff thing where it's
Right.
one member and then another member of the family.
They pull out 2 family members.
Right.
One goes backstage, can't hear the answers, and the other one goes first. And you got to get 200 points to win the $20,000.
Which honestly is not that big. of a payday
divided
for
by
5 people?
Okay.
Yeah.
I have never seen a family win. So potentially you could win $100,000 in a car.
Because if you win 5 shows in a row.
Right. Mm-hmm. And if you don't get the $20,000, it's like, okay, $5 a point, $500, but you're back tomorrow for the opportunity to win the car, but you got to make it 5 days. So my theory is, by the 5th day, because it's probably all recorded the same day. That's a Hollywood secret, because basically Steve Harvey probably goes in and tapes all the shows in a matter of like 8 weeks.
Yeah.
Knocking out 5 shows a day for the year.
Yeah,
okay.
game shows do so many episodes back to back in a day.
For sure. They're cranking it out.
A lot. Mm-hmm.
So for a family who does not change their suits, they look so fatigued, some of them, by the 5th episode. They're like, let's just say like the Norris family's back to win the car day. They've been here 5.
They have not left.
They look like, oh my God. I mean, they look shell-shocked because the adrenaline, the up, the down, being sharp. And I'm always like, oh, they're not going to make it. They're not going to make it. I can tell. Now, if they're able to pull it out and win the car, that's such a huge adrenaline. Like, we won the car. And they run over there, opening the car doors and waving out. It's like, okay, who's actually getting the car? I mean, you're going to have to sell it. I mean, there's just not enough money for 5 people after taxes. So they're waving, they're high. Oh my gosh. And they come back and now they're fast money. And now the surge of adrenaline for winning the car, the crash. I mean, they can barely put 2 words together. They're so discombobulated. That is my favorite type of episodes. Like, oh my gosh, if they can pull out the car and $20,000,
good job.
I've never seen anybody win the car, and I'm sure it exists, but I haven't seen it yet, win the car and win the fast money where it's like, oh my God, they won $40,000 or $60,000 over the 5 days. It's
they won enough to pay the taxes on the car.
Right. I've never seen anybody win more than the $60,000. So they won 3 fast monies. So I mean, but I gotta admit it, I freaking love it. I love when Steve is obviously exasperated. It's like near the end of he's probably taped for 5 days in a row. And he's like, when they give questions, he's like, oh God. He
is not a good
He won't
answer,
even
yeah.
look at it. He's like, he'll just say like monkeys. Bah! He's like, he looks at them like,
It's like, yeah, monkeys
dumb.
is terrible.
It's on all the time. And like I said, it's adults for the most part being very happy, which you just don't see. And it's not complicated. Sorry, John. And it's not like Cash Cab where it's like really kind of like challenging questions.
Well, trivia. It's not trivia, really.
No. And so, but there are times like, I don't know what Santa would do the day after Christmas.
Go on vacation, Liz. He'd go on vacation.
Take a big nap. Like, you're like, okay. And so like, you're like out of 8, you're like, all right, take a nap, eat something. Oh my God, what's left? And they're like so fast. And you're like, what would Middle America, what would Mall of America say? That's you always have to
that's
think.
also the strategy in our house. It's like, it's not what I think the answer would be. It's what I think whatever this group would have thought the answer
So
would be.
I'm putting it out there right now. I would like us to go on Family Feud.
What?
I'm not going.
Fine. We don't need you, curmudgeon. I need very chipper people that will match me. I think blue would be a good color on us.
I would actually prefer if you guys didn't go also.
No,
gee.
one of our cousins has already done it. And,
That was bad.
And the Saunier family.
They did?
Yeah.
Oh my
Do
gosh.
you remember anything,
No,
Catherine?
I don't.
So
don't
I feel like we can
remember
go
anything.
on and kick their records ass.
Oh, well, wow, that's a big
The
challenge.
California cousins. And I listen, production loves it. Like from Los Angeles, California, we are not paying for their hotels, car services,
just
or
drove
airfare.
here.
They just got here themselves.
And it's not even valet parking, so you better win.
All right, I'm just putting it out there. I think I might do the application.
Oh, wow.
I'm very
okay.
intrigued.
That just got serious.
But I'm sure I will be one of those people when Steve walks out, I'll be like, I'll be like, Steve Harvey in a lilac suit with purple shoes. I will be like, I can't.
Well, my husband Eric is definitely going to want to be involved.
I like when they have brother-in-laws and this and that. I like when it's always like, my fabulous brother-in-law, my cousin, my aunt. You're like, well, these are like all the offshoot relatives. Like, very interesting. All right.
Yeah, those are the only people you can get for this show.
John, I'm telling you in 2 seconds, I can have the 5 members.
Yeah,
for sure.
I think, also, we have a lot of siblings, so you probably
I don't
start
worry.
there.
It's almost like, who do I think is worthy to be on Family
she would
Feud
cherry
with me?
pick the best.
All right, so that's my confession, and thank you, Lainey Ziv, for making me an addict to Family Feud.
I have a weird question for Liz. Are there any military Family Feud episodes that you've watched? Family versus family.
Well,
beards versus beards.
When family members come in full, like their full uniform, or a lot of like recent retirees.
Oh.
And Steve just loves it. I mean, he's like, thank you for your service. So the military is very well represented in Family Feud. And I mean, he loves a well-educated, like a kid in college. Oh my gosh, you get it, man. You get that. I mean, like, I just love Steve. And like I said, there are times you can tell he's in a good mood. Other times, like, ooh, something happened backstage. He's not happy. I just love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I don't know. I don't care who knows.
You can't cross those streams.
Oh, I did. All right.
Well, the last thing I want to say on Family Feud, since
Lord.
we just we're revisiting Family Feud.
I didn't bring these things up so that you guys could talk about
Whatever.
those things.
Hush over there. The last thing I want to say about it is I also love when they do a show-themed episode. So it's like the cast from a show is the family.
Right.
Those are great. Those are
not often like part of a rewatch or like, syndicated. I'm telling you, those are the rare ones you got to find on YouTube, which Mark has only caught me once.
They have to pay him more or something. I kind of doubt it.
I don't know.
I think they're probably just,
I don't know. It's hell of enjoyable.
I'm still working it over here. I'm like, okay, so the Atreides versus some other movie family. I want to see Oscar Isaac in his bearded Atreides-ness.
I mean, wouldn't it have been amazing if, as part of Game of Thrones, when they were doing promotion, they had like the two families, the Targaryens versus the...
I mean, there's probably a Funny or Die.
How is there not a Saturday Night Live sketch?